for you, yeah. Studying the way you dance, and that's why I'm a player. Wanna live it up, or you wanna live it up, you wanna live it up, I'm just not sure what I want you now. Don't be afraid, hold me down. So you can go ahead and clap it while I stop it. I'm excited, and I know you're like, what's up with you? What's up with you? Why you want me to? What's more to do? What's up with you? What's stop loving you? Why you want me to? What's more to do? What's up with you? What's stop loving you? Why you want me to? What's more to do? What's up with you? What's stop loving you? Why you want me to? What's more to do?
Be that way, fall apart twice a day. I just wish you could feel what you say. Showing a good time, but I know you too well. Got a move that you wish you could sell. If times could be better, there'd be certain things in my mind. Though the tight touch is what makes you hard. If I was a promise, would you break it? If you're honest, tell the real what's in life if I
Alright, we'll get started in just a bit. Alright, we got some good moves coming in today. I think we have some good plays coming in the next 24 hours. Some good money to be made for the next 24 hours. So let's see if we can make some money. Alright, so tune in. In about 3 minutes we begin, okay? All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm a little congested, so excuse my voice first off, all right? But anyways, welcome. This is your boy, Satoshi motherfucking Heavy Sounding in here with another edition of A Dose of Crypto. So with that, I hope everybody had a good few days away from the last time we spoke. We had really good moves and really good plays if you got in on some of them. And I think the last time we spoke was what? Today's the 15, 14, 13. It was about here. Unfortunately, we thought we was going to call it to a long position, but that was wrong, obviously. It broke to the downside. And then over the course of the next last 24 hours, I assumed we were going to attempt a break to the upside, and that happened. And it was actually an extremely good play. Congratulations if you took that play. It nearly played out perfectly. Now, what is... Oh my god, I forgot the transition, y'all. Boom. 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 Excuse me. Sorry for not transitioning. Sorry again for not transitioning. So, anyways... So, what is happening? So, in my group today, I pulled out an analysis. And, let me lower this a little bit more. I put out an analysis. And I said, we're gonna do. I actually think it's gonna come down really hard. Let me explain to you. But let me explain to you real quick what I think is gonna happen. I have a stop sell. I haven't entered a short, unfortunately, but I do think it's gonna come down really pretty hard. I think this is a WXY. And two things could happen. This could end up being an ABC, or it could just end up being a triangle. WX and Y here is a triangle. And I threw that possibility out earlier that this could have been like a B and the C, and possibly like an E there. But it's not perfect at this point. But if we break these lows, this pattern seems complete to the downside, and it would break the lows. Initially, the other case is what I'm actually looking for. That doesn't look as possible, like as correct as this study here. I think this is still gonna do this, and this. Create this mini flat here. I'm not willing to buy the dip necessarily because how many times this low has been tested. But I'm willing to buy a break of this trend line here on like the 5-minute time frame. Hold on, give me a second. Just checking something real quick. Okay. Okay, I'm running a little bit better. Besides a few moves in here, the PA in this has been pretty difficult to get in on in regards to setups. But as price as price goes on, what tends to happen, especially for an LAOA trader, things start to become more clear as more data unfolds. So then you could better piece together screen share charts. You could better piece together a trading plan or a trading idea. And so, as prices unfolded, to me, the most logical thing I could have saw was that this was some impulsive moves to the downside because it went up before it went down, But then, and then this move, unfortunately, was a scrub and a noob, and I don't know why I did not adhere to my own, not my own rules. It's Neo Wave rules, but rules that I should be following with every single sort of my soul in regards to trading, because it is what I believe in. And I let my greed get into me. So anyways, apart from that, I believe that this move was some impulsive move to the downside that was going to be followed by another impulsive move to the downside. And this right there, to me, was that move. One may label it, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. But, again, the way I analyze price and data, especially as a Neo Wave trader, might be a little bit different than the way a traditional Elliott Wave trader would analyze price and data. And there's certain rules that must be abided by, and if they're not abided, then it's hard for me to say with certainty or with any belief that it is what is being studied. And so the first rule is the retrace rule. You notice the complexity of this move down compared to this move up was far too vast and far too complex. Therefore, I cannot deem this as the breaking move, and neither should you if you're an Elliott Wave trader. The second reason why you cannot deem this as wave 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is due to the fact that this move here went greater than a 6-8 retrace of this move here, and we can see that here. And you might be asking why you're using this a line chart. Again, this is Neo. That's how Neo Wave traders should be studying price. It actually hit a 6-8 retrace, which is it's deemable, but to me the most accurate count would be something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just the way I study price and how certain moves have to happen in a certain way in order to be deemed a terminal move being a ending move. And same thing with this, like this, what probably would have been more like that, and then there's some complex move here. And so at this point, it still looks like has a very high chance of being this flat here that I initially looked for. And again, I'm not willing to buy this low. Although you could possibly say okay, I can buy this low, set a stop right there. But if you know anything about how a flat could be, come about. It can come about in a few ways. It could be a regular flat, like how it is right now. It could be up, down, up, on a regular flat, or it could be something where it'll be very hard to trade long, longing it without any confirmation, because it could very well do this, drop down here to an expanding or running flat zone, and then come back up. And then by that time, if you were to buy here, well, the way I trade, I wouldn't be able to take that drawdown. There'd just be no way I'd be able to take that drawdown with the way I trade. And so the way I trade flats, and the way everybody should trade flats, especially if you're an Elliott Wave trader, is you should look for the trend line break of the A high and B to B pivot. So this is B, right? Or or it could be X, doesn't matter. And here's whatever, and here's B. The B to B pivot, that's your breaker move. And so what you look for as an Elliott Wave trader is your trend line, your A to B pivot breaker trend line to break, and then your double whammy is the breaker that pivots there on a horizontal axis aspect. That's your double whammy. And so you don't want to be longing these or trying to guess the top or bottom of these corrective phases unless there's only very few instances where I do this, like would guess like, okay, we're actually going to be a flat rather than an expanding or running flat. And that's when like this internal structure is very easy to read. Very easy to read. And one may argue that it is very easy to read. In my opinion, it's A, B, C. Pretty simple. And that is actually a breaker move, so you could say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could say that's all 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you could find an estimated, you know, a point of where price can get to. But you see, you know, it could still extend further down, all the way down here, still be 100% valid for, you know, an A, B, C running flat, and therefore you just should not be risking, you know, attempting to buy that or in any aspect go against it without some confirmation. And I just gave you the two tips I use, two tricks I use to find that confirmation in regards to the corrective phase. Again, there's one way that I will trade a flat, or running flat, or expanded flat, and I'm always and I'll always buy that low. And if you're part of my group, you would know exactly what we're looking for. And I'm not going to explain it here because it's not alluding to itself, so there's no reason to explain it unless it's here. But at this point, this is still 100% within the realms of a running flat, or a flat. And so, again, I'm not willing to. I'm gonna actually. I had stop sales underneath here. I'm gonna take them away, and here's why. It's because the GB, the DCB to the downside can be hit, and we can still move up and be 100% logical. 100% logical. So unless you got in a short up here, there's no reason to be shorting this. Unless you have you could possibly short a break of this and watch a reaction in this little zone, because this is what I did prior. For example, I had a stop sell right here on this break here, and when I entered it, price came down here, hit this box, right? Hit this box, and I noticed a reaction out of it. And when it came back down, I closed my short because the reaction out of it was really strong. And therefore, it reminded me it could be a running or expanded flat, and that's what actually happened. It moved up into a running and expanded flat formation. And so my idea is that it has a very high chance of doing that right now. And so you could put a stop sell right here, beneath this low. Not this low, but this low right here. Because I believe that's wave 5 end right here, and X wave end. And you can watch the reaction in this box here. But this means you have to be watching this chart. So you have to be like glued to the fucking your computer or your phone. And do you really want to do that? That's on you. And so if the reaction jumps like that and it comes back into it, jumps again, you probably want to get out of that, because it'll probably end up being a stupid running flat like this, just like this was here. Because again, this doesn't fit the confines of a triangle, and it probably doesn't hit the minimum requirements for, and it does not hit the minimum requirements. So I cannot deem this as an ending move. I cannot deem this as an ending move here. Like, I cannot say this is A, B, or C, or W, X, Y. I believe still that there's still going to be a move to the upside. Again, I'm still not willing to long it. The only way I'm willing to long this move to the downside is if it gets down here and I see a reaction out of it. That's the only way. Just like how this happened, where it came down here, I saw a reaction out of it, and we went long in this little zone right here, and we had a good play. So if I were trading this, or trying to trade this setup, I would just simply put this trend line here. Oop. put this trend line here and watch and wait for the break. And possibly wait for like that 5-minute momentum to shift positive to attempt a long. As for the grand scheme of things, let's jump out real quick. I don't know why my computer is running like a bag of dicks. I'm going to delete some of this because we don't need it anymore. Don't need that. So, I believe in that. Let's get rid of this stuff real quick. Let's get rid of it real quick. So I wanted to talk about the larger time aspects of things, or larger aspects of things. Because getting pretty interesting, pretty interesting. All right, just from the straight base of things, I truly do believe this is a 5-wave rise. And we're gonna see that somewhere on this side. The lower we go, let's say if we break below the 6-8 retrace of this current move up, which is approximately whatever that is. If you break that and start consolidating underneath it, or we don't quickly reverse out from beneath that, so I will allow a wick, but if we don't come quickly reverse out of that range, then, sorry, I have to delete all this shit. Then I'm going to be willing to say that this is going to actually drop down to this low and create a flat here. This would be extremely bearish if we do this. But it would be even more bearish, because regardless of the fact, I don't know, but I have a strong feeling that we're going to get a 5-wave rise on this other side of this pattern. It's just figuring out when it's the most logical time and price to see a possibility of a low of this B or X wave. Or B wave. It cannot be an X wave because that's a 5-wave rise. I can see us getting all the way down here, and if it does indeed become a flat, and still becoming a flat. because this is still the DCB to the downside, and it actually is a 6-8 of the move up from 3K to 16 or 14K. So it's a double whammy. You have some confluence right there. How this fits in, I'll explain right now. But let me explain the other side. If we manage to, quickly wick under and come back up with that 6-8, or stay above the 6-8 subsequently, I don't know how that would happen. I believe that the 6-8 is going to be violated somehow, some way. It's just seeing if we're going to stay trending underneath it or flip it. If we stay above it or flip it quick, then I'm a believer that this is a possibility that could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this will become the flat, and the two legs that will be mimicking each other in time will be your B and C. The lower we go, like I said, or the longer we trend underneath the 6-8 of this move up here, the more willing I am to call this an X wave. And how will that fit into this play? Well, it'll take the count of. Well, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that this would be your terminal point of this move. That's all that matters. If this indeed makes it flat here, that's all that matters. Look how, isn't that funny how something kind of like line up like that? So this would be your estimated time for X wave to end. If you want more information on how I use time, join my group. I'm not going to explain it, but just know that this is how I find X waves. And so the count there's two counts that could be derived and say that this is your terminal point, and we should assume it's some sort of uptrend. It's AP's. If you don't know AP's, and he's a tremendous analyst and trader, highly recommend his work. Where all this is one move. And then this puts in an X wave. And if we check time, again, if you expect this to be a quick TA session, this is not. Our quick sessions are during the week. This is time for real hard studies and really making sure that our plan is intact and we're really on a good side of things. The only thing I don't like, actually, this works extremely well because it hits a low so close within 2 bars of the necessary time we look for. So that to me is good enough for that to be logical. The other way this would be, that's honestly the only count that I can derive that this puts in. W, X, Y, X. See, that wouldn't make sense there either, X. See, that's the only one that can derive that X wave there. Yeah, I cannot see it. Yeah, I cannot see it. See another count that would be logical that could say that that could be a low and we put in this flat here. So that'll be the only count if that happens. If that indeed happens, and we break low. The other count is that this is like this entire thing is a flat, like we discussed earlier. But we have to stay above that 6-8 on close on a daily. If we violate that on close on a daily, this, in my opinion, is out the window. And the most likely scenario would be this W, X, and this could be extremely painful here. I don't really think this will get violated here. This trend line here. I really don't think so. But again, just because we made a 5-wave rise doesn't necessarily mean we have to be jumping in that on being bullish. Yes, I am a firm believer that this is a 5-wave rise, and we're going to see a 5-wave rise on the other side at some point. At some point. It's just figuring out, again, same idea as we just discussed earlier. When's the most logical time and price to say that this could happen, you know? And so, if we put in this X wave like this, that'll be extremely bearish, in my opinion. Extremely bearish. Because this should have been a breaker move in regards to the Neely principle, the Neil wave principle. We have concluded a logical wave count, and we should have broken to the upside in some sort of impulsive fashion. It's the same idea as right here. And this is when I started really paying attention to Neil Wave, because Neil Wave saved my ass on that trade right there. And it's just because Neil Wave teaches you that after certain things happen, after certain patterns end, or your certain ideas find an end, certain things must unfold, and they must unfold in a certain pattern, in a certain way. And they don't unfold in a certain pattern, a certain way, directly after your idea has concluded. Your idea is most likely going to be, 1, false, or 2, driving into a more complex pattern, which is we call WXY, XZ patterns. So again, to reiterate all the data that we just unfolded today on the slaughter aspects of things, I'm a firm believer that this is a 5-wave rise, and we're going to see a 5-wave rise on this other side, but it's just figuring out if it's going to unfold in a flat variety, which is being, like I said, more bearish, because that would make me believe that we're putting in an X wave of some sort, or would it be a more bullish scenario where we hold the 6-8 on close, we break that upside trend line right there, and this ends up being a wave 3 impulse, a wave C impulsive pattern to this first move to that side, and then these two are sister waves in regards to time. It's 100% logical. But like I said, the lower we go, the more bearish I become after this 5-wave rise. I'm a believer, like I said, firm believer that we're going to see this 5-wave rise. The way you disregard that, make me not believe that, is by breaking that low. I know that will make it so, you know, that's a long way down from here, you know. It's a long way down from invalidation. But like I said, we have rules to when's the best time to long. One, like I said, watch for that trendline break, watch for those hit breaks, and you should be pretty safe. As price gets closer and closer to the invalidation point in both price and time, that's when you should start really looking to wanting to enter the market, because the closer you are in both price and time, the better the setup is in regards to risk to reward, because the tighter stop you could usually put in both price and time. All right, let's move on to Ethereum because I think I covered everything in regards to Bitcoin. Let's just go to the smaller time frame real quick one more time to see what's happening. And why'd you look at that, mister? Would you look at that, mister? We're getting that reaction like I assumed. Like I said, if you're a day trader, I think that this would be a pretty good long opportunity for a day trade at this point. Let's see if it hit any really good fib points. And it did. Notice it hit the, I'm not going to put it up. It hit the 6-8 fib extension. So now, if you're going to be wanting to try to trade this, and as an alleyway trader, you're going to be looking for this hip to break. This hip trend line is AB trend line, and the B2B breaker pivot, which is right there. So you look for this to break. So you can long this now, put a stop right there. Long this now, put a stop there, or you can put a stop there. That's a risky setup, though. That's a more aggressive setup. I like to try to take aggressive setups only when it's really close to risk and invalidation points. Right now, it's pretty far away from the invalidation point being down here, so it's not worth, in my opinion, taking that shot without some confirmation that this is the low. So you would want this trend line to break. You would want this to be hit, tapped, or whatever, some sort of small consolidation pattern like a flat. Then you long that with a stop at underneath the 6-8 of that move up, and then you look for that to finish off. In my opinion, though, it'll be kind of, you would have one shot to long it. One shot. It'll be like this. It'll end up, in my opinion, it's going to end up being a WXY. WXY. So in my opinion, you have one small shot to long like that. One small window. So make sure you know what to look for. Like that was a little zigzag there. Watch for something to fold there. And then we'll see what happens after that. We'll see what happens after that. How this plays into effect, not one entirely positive. Like I said, I'm assuming that this is one move right there, and then this is all one move. It's two. We're kind of running out of time here for this pattern to be true, so I might have to scrap this pretty soon, depending on what happens. Yeah, I'm not. See, the time aspects right now don't work really well. Don't work really well. Because I'm deeming this one move right there. That's one move. I was trying to figure out what this pattern is going to be here. You know, is this going to be? My first idea was this is X, and this is going to be, you know, ABC. But so far, this pattern looks more corrective than anything. So it's, we'll see. In my opinion, by Wednesday, max, we'll have a more definite idea of this pattern here. So far, it's still not exactly screaming out at me. Like I said, I'm a believer that we're going to get some sort of 5-3-5. If it's going to be extremely explosive or turn into be a flat, not too sure. The way the reactionary move of this compared to this makes me believe that this is corrective. there might be a possibility that this is like an A and a B and a C in itself. This is A or W, it's X, B, and this is C or Y. The only thing I don't like about this particular pattern right now is that this would make no sense to me in form of, I mean, that would make sense because it's a B wave, but it would be hard for me to depict that as the end. But I can see that. I can see it. I'm a firm believer at this, the 5 of impulse. Flat. C. Our original idea, I'm going to scrap the original idea being a W, X, and a Y. Because time is up for that idea. So there's no way it could be true. So now that that idea is scrapped, I'm just going to have to... the only 2 ideas that we just went over real quick is that this is A and this is a B somehow. This is C. And this would still work. Oh, that's it. 6-8. I like this idea because it makes it so these levels make sense. So here's the DCB to the downside. If we move up like this and then extend like that, I think this would be a logical extension. Just double check. And it is. Look at that, right at the minimum extension we need. So to me, this makes the most sense. Maybe something like that. The longer we stay in this little area, the more bearish I become in regards to that, me thinking it's an X wave. And then we'll get to Ethereum, and then touch on ETH Bitcoin, and then Litecoin, and then we'll get out of here. Again, this is a more in-depth. If you wanted a quick tutorial, a quick TA lesson, you come back during the week. But then you don't get the long-term aspect, which is, in my opinion, what most people are going to be trading off of anyways. So, probably best that most of you stay. So let's just go over some logic real quick. At first, I didn't know if this move down was part of an A, B, C like that. And at that low, I assumed, I didn't assume, I concluded that it could be possible that was possible. But the way that this ended up unfolding made me throw that idea 100% out. And so now I'm like 100% a firm believer that this is all one move. And now it's just figuring out well, I'm not figuring out. In my opinion, this is going to be most likely going to be true. That this is going to be some sort of A or W, B or X, and it's going to be Y or C. And this is going to be a giant fucking flat here. That makes the most sense to me. But it doesn't mean we move up here. It does not mean that. It could, but like I said, it doesn't make. I can't find a logical count that says we move up from this point. It just doesn't make sense to me. What makes sense to me is that we move up, reject, move down, come to the DCB extension, extend A, B, C. Everybody gets super bearish at 6.9K. Flipping fucking bull. Kuyabaya. A, B, C, flat, flat, A, B, C. And if this happens, I ain't gonna be so bearish. So bearish after this happens. After this 5-wave rise happens, I'm gonna be so fucking bearish. If this pattern unfolds. Alright, let's move to freaking Ethereum. I wonder why my computer's running like crap, man. Crap. Okay. Let's get, this is actually a really, really cool indicator I created here. So this will literally trade any hour, any momentum you set it to. Like let's trade it for 420 momentum. It's like the buys weren't working for some reason. Interesting. Wonder why the buys aren't popping up. That's very strange. I'm about to see what the hell's wrong with that indicator. Anyways, let's see what the fuck's going on. What is happening with Ethereum? Can we get anything that will help us gauge Bitcoin from Ethereum? Very strange that this has happened. Okay. So, what is happening on Ethereum? This is kind of a mess right here. Again, same idea with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm a firm believer that this is a 5-wave impulse. And we're looking for it on this side. Can I come right here? In my opinion, the depth of this retrace was so vast. It's kind of hard for me to say that. But I will say this. I am a believer that this is also 5 waves. This looks like a 3-wave move. This is like an ABC. This is like a possible diagonal here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC. I'll be bearish on Ethereum once it breaks 136.44. That's per Elliott Wave rules. As for what's going on in here, again, same idea with Bitcoin. Is this a flat happening? If so, I'm be interested and curious of buying the trendline break, and assuming that this top right there gets taken out and it rejects and then falls back down. The other option is that it's a simple A, B, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. A, B, C, buy zone, A, B, C, flats, downside. They both make sense. but they both, in my opinion, are sells. And this makes sense with, Bitcoin being a sell. This will make in my opinion, the one that makes the most sense is we go up now, create this flat, sell here, Ethereum breaks down, very interesting. We both move impulsively together, but that would mean Bitcoin will hit a way bigger impulse, which would make not too much of sense. That's what I'll say is most logical, though. Not necessarily willing to buy that low, just because how many times this area has been tapped. But I'll be more interested of, like, if I'm a day trader, buying the break of that trend line and shorting this with a stop loss just above that high here. Again, for same thing. If you don't want to get chopped up with this small time frame stuff, literally the simplest fucking advice I could give you: draw a trend line from this high to this pivot here, because this is A, and this is either all of B or part of B, and therefore, as per Elliott Wave rules, the hip break right there is a telltale sign of reversal. Not only that, but at that point, it should break this trend line, like I said. And yes, you won't buy the low, but you will get in the majority of the trade. And you're not going to ever make a living on buying all the lows and buying all the highs. But you can make a living off doing this. Finding a very logical wave pattern, especially if you see a 5-wave rise. Literally just let this complexity unfold, draw a trend line off the A to B hip, and let it unfold, and then buy the break of that, set your stops. The two areas of interest you should always look for buying is a 6-8 and also your DCB extension to the downside or upside, which is that's my favorite. My favorite setup in the whole world is that flat. The running and expanding flat is literally my favorite pattern in the whole world of trade, just because it's very easy to get logical stop placements. Very easy. Ooh, this will be painful. Wow. That actually makes sense too. I'm gonna go back to Bitcoin real quick. You ever just start teeing stuff and then all of a sudden something just screams at you, and it's all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, bro, look at this. Well, that's what I just got here. So let's just make sure it could be even possible on Bitcoin. It's the WXY again. Same WXY we initially entailed, but just seeing if it's possible to be putting in an X wave of an X wave. This is why it's very difficult to trade corrective patterns, especially on a higher time frame, like the medium time frame, because the complexity gets so vast that you could arrive at many different conclusions, and that's why, like, when it comes to like major corrections, like the major corrective phases. By the way, a little tip for Elliott Wave traders: if you're trying to learn Elliott Wave, the further you are, or the closer you are towards the center of the correction, the more complex it is, and it will always be. And it makes perfect sense. So if you have a B wave corrective phase, what's in the middle of that B wave? It's probably going to be a B of a B wave. Notice the complexity and the how. So typically, like after you get a 5-wave rise, the complexity it'll be very swift first move, and then complex, and all of a sudden it starts easing up, and then a very swift move to end it, and then back moving impulsively. So like how your complexity graph will go would be like very simple for impulse, and then all of a sudden as you start getting into correction, it gets harder and harder, and then it gets to the point where it crescendos, and then it starts coming down like that. and it'll just be like A. All this is A, then it's B, C. And that's how it'll look on a chart. A. And this is difficulty and wave count. Complexity and wave count. This is what happens. From very easy to very difficult. As A wave ends and B wave commences, it gets more and more difficult because if you look at it in algorithmic aspects, here's A, here's B, here's C. And typically what that likes, this C wave likes to be like a fucking rising wedge, fucking any diagonal, some complex type of pattern. But that's what happens. So very simple, quick move, and then very complex. To see if that one pattern works. I'm not too sure about it, but I just want to make sure that we covered every possible logical scenario that I could account for. No, it doesn't work. What I was trying to see is if this could be all one move, and then this is like an ABC running flag, you know, and then downside move. But it doesn't work. So we're sticking with those two ideas we had previously. Let's go to why are you running like a bag of dicks, homie? Big old bag of dicks. This thing's running like shit. Quite frustrating. Why are you running so bad? So relatively no change. Like literally no change for ETH BTC. For me. This is like a W, X, and a Y for me. One may say this is one, you know, A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this does not look like an impulse, so I cannot label it an impulse. I cannot. Absolutely cannot. This works, but I'm running out of time here. This is like a flat right there. That looks like a flat right there. But the way we've reacted so far has not been impulsive to the downside. The longer we stay this way for EBTC, in my opinion, the more bullish I become. Because it should do this. In my opinion. And this is bullish. The fact that this broke that high and this is consolidation, right? All this is consolidation, so this is bullish. Don't let this price action fool you. This is consolidation, this is impulse, this is consolidation. Don't let it fool you. Alright. I don't really have targets for that. So this is approaching our first buyer, yeah. And Litecoin's like almost, in my opinion, almost certain to put in a running flat. You get impulse A. Look at this here. So, move, flat, move, flat, move. Because that, like, same thing with all the coins. Well, not all the coins. Never mind. This actually could be. At first, I thought this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which it could be. But this also works. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, like I said, this is why it's so difficult to trade these corrective phases. All you have to know, with literally across the board with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, and all the majors, is that I truly believe we're due for another impulsive 5-wave rise. It's just figuring out when the most logical time and price is to long that. A very simple strategy is waiting for that. We've discussed it multiple times in this video. But that A to B hip break and trendline break, which is your A to B trendline break, and here's your B hip right here. So, again, you will never get the low, but you'll get the most out of the trade. So you'll never if this is a low here, it drops down 1, 2. You miss all of wave 1. Whoop-de-doo. You get all of wave 3, which is usually the biggest and strongest part of the trend, which is the one you want to be part of, anyways. And then you would, in my opinion, I would be like, you move your stop up into logical places and see what happens. But this so far is very complex, so it makes me believe that we're still within the confines of some complex corrective pattern. And my mouse just fucking died. My mouse just died. We'll cover a coin, gold too. Okay, gold's very interesting right now. That's essentially it for Litecoin as well. A lot of time frame aspects have still very much been the same. Still very much been the same. Okay, just making sure. I need to clean my watch charts up. This setup's very easy. You can go either way though. Since that, you know, the complexity from there to there, they're fairly the same. But their setup would be you're shorting this move to an upside with your stop above the 618 retrace of this move, which is right here. So your stop would be right there. I would be one, honestly, to put it just above that hip. Just because, I don't know, this makes more sense to me. You're looking for this to elude itself. What does it look like on a higher time frame aspect? Pretty good, pretty good. In my opinion, this next move is going to be the KO that we're going to, you know, pretty good, pretty good. A good setup here too, so I'll definitely be. I'm taking that setup as soon as I get out of here. I'll set myself up with that. Oh my gosh, it's running like complete assholes. Gold interests me for one reason. Looks like a 5-wave impulse to the upside. We hit a low in the time we needed to and subsequently made a 5-wave rise. Albeit it looks like it's some sort of diagonal, and or it could be like a W, X, Y corrective thing that we're just mislabeling. But that's why I'll be willing to say I'm a buyer above a break of these highs, because then that should be 1, 2, 3 of this impulse 4, 5, and then it breaks down to downside. And everybody and their mom's gonna try to be buying this breakout right here, and they're gonna be fucking crushed if our idea is correct. Crushed, absolutely crushed. So this ended up being a good play here. Although it looks like it could be a flat, so be very cautious of this. Be very cautious. Although I'm willing to say this continues to the downside, to be honest. I'm willing to say this continues to the downside. But this can be... And then that. They both are very logical. But I'm willing to say the downside aspect is better. We've been on this trade for a long, hot minute. So, again, if you're not part of my group and you want coverage, constant coverage, not constant coverage, but weekly coverage, making sure that it stays on track, come join my group. I'd be happy to have you. We're one big, happy family. I think that's essentially it, though. I think that's essentially it. Does anyone have any good Forex setups this week and want me to take a look at? Or, like, any cryptos you want me to take a look at? Any last minute cryptos? Let me think. What haven't we covered? Let's hop back to the crypto charts. XTZ USD. Alright, I'll take a look at that, mate. Alright. I'll pop it up in this chart. I think I had a chart of it before, though. Cannot remember what. I think it was over here in this set. And I think it must have been this chart right here. I forgot what chart it was. No, here we are. Yeah, here we are. Well, what's the high point? This is very character. Honestly, this looks like it's ABC. But you could have guessed that. Y'all could have guessed that. A, B, C, WXY, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually willing to say this right here is this, actually. This makes the most sense. That's A. All this is A. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. But look at that. You have a very good stop setup too, because your invalidation point is actually just above this line here. Right there. That's your invalidation. Above that 6.8. This should continue down. If this is going to be correct. This move right here is that helps you really. So this is how I would count this. The reactionary wave from, you know, this retrace far too much for this to be not part of this. So this is actually this. So it's a truncation here. So if you're trying to short this, you're actually, in my opinion, my stop would be in this red zone right here. And I would be expecting you'd really want this trend line to break for confluence, but it's not absolutely necessary. Remember, depending on what kind of trader you are, you're more risky, more aggressive. Not risky, but more aggressive trader. I don't like being aggressive when there's a very, very obvious wave count. Yeah, I can see that. That count. If that was to happen, I'll label this. I still like this better though. I still do like this better right here. Where this is like this, and this is actually this. This is 1, 2. All this could be 3, 4, and 5. A, B, C. This is all looks like corrected to me. But this is what I see. Getting one more high would actually make me more bearish. It would get me a more logical setup, like trading wise. You feel me? Oh shit, that's kind of broken. Let's go back to here one more time. One more time. And then we'll get out of here. Raise the volume up, get out of here. Ask me any last minute questions. I'll be happy to answer them before we get out of here. I wanted to go over some things. Not some things, but just go over some indicators I created over the past 48 hours. So let's just delete everything off my screen. Actually, let's just go to a blank slate. No problem, bro. No problem, bro. Always a pleasure to give my best advice my best insight. I don't know why my fucking computer runs like a fucking piece of cunt. Shitty, yo. Template. I might need you. I don't need you, mate. Alright, the first indicator I created, or I not create, I took a guy's idea and made it even better by applying some other things to it. The momentum index, pretty powerful little tool here. If you're not with my group, extremely powerful at trading that. If you're trying to, because if as a trader, you should always be trading two charts: a higher time frame chart to give a general basis, and a low time frame chart for your entries and exits. That's how you should trade. If you're not trading like that, I promise you, if you do trade like that, you'll see a lot better results. And so I figured out, how can we possibly make it easier for my traders to do that? And so I made this little fucking thing. So all it does is gauges the momentum on the higher time frame charts, and then it shows you, you can see it. So here's, currently it's the same momentum on the study. So let's just say we wanted to trade the 4 hour chart. We would type in 240. We would probably change this to our time frame. We usually want the fast time frame to be the time frame you're in, if not only like one step below. Like, so I'll give like a 20 to 15 time frame, the lowest here. And you see here that we clearly, the 4 hour momentum, you can see where it's bearish, you can see where it's bullish. It's bullish there, up into there, then the momentum shifted bearish on the 4 hour, and you can just see, now you can trade the smaller time frames using the higher time frame momentums, and it could just really bode for some really good setups and ideas. So yeah, probably go. So another common one I really like is the 530 setup. It's a really good setup right here. Gets you really good clean moves usually. You get to see divergences that you normally wouldn't see. Double top there. And this is very good. It's a very good indicator. So this is one of them I graded. Another one is, I don't know which one it is. I'm gonna go with that one. All this is the SRSI, but with the same aspect. You can now trade the higher time frame. All right, mate. Don't pop up. It's the same idea. You can now trade the higher time frame. So, and usually I don't like to have the SRSI on there. And this is the same idea. This is it's a very powerful tool to use. Not an end all be all, but it's just it's a very good signal. Like, if you didn't know to short there, this could have been a helpful indicator because you're below the slow line, which the slow line is the higher time frame line. So currently right now it's the 30-minute, but if we wanted, we could trade like the hourly momentum or trend, and that's the trading the hourly trend, see, etc., etc. And so like you could have possibly got a good long setup here on a break of that 50 line. Same idea with the short way. So this is a pretty cool little indicator just to help get good setups, good little confluence with your trading idea on the chart. The last two indicators I created, in my opinion, are my favorite two indicators I created in quite some time. Let's start with the straight Chevy. So I know it seems like it's like a lot of mess, but the reason why, okay, let's explain it. The original Chevy calls are up here and down here. So like if you really fell in love with the original calls, I kept them there. So all you would do is you would get rid of the Chevy long plus momentum pause plus negative, and you just leave these two and change them to above bar, below bar, and these give you, in my opinion, really good setups by themselves. And I know right now it's a little messy. Probably wouldn't want to trade in anything less than the 13-minute time frame. You would probably want this. I think I might have messed up the code on this one a little bit. It's not functioning as well as it used to, it looks like. Before it was like freaking the most ridiculous thing ever, so I might have to change this back. But those are the old ones, and these are supposedly the new ones. And these ones is based off of the momentum as well. And it's of your, I don't know if it's of your choices. Let's see here. And yeah, it's of your choice as well. So like if we wanted to trade this higher time frame momentum, again, we can. It's like the 4 hour, do that here. You won't see the color codes change here, but you'll see the change on the bars themselves. See, all these are short, 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 short. That was a buy, that was a buy. Shorts. Shorts. I think I might change this back, though, to the more original one, just because the original one was very good at this. Just like if you're watching price action on a 13-minute time frame, it was so good at following it, especially with the Heikin-Ashis, that you could literally just make money following it and playing the trades off that. The other one, where the hell? Chevy XV. Ay, ay, ay. I don't know why that happens. So this is Chevy XV, which is essentially Chevy, but adds 2 more variables. I'm not going to tell you what they are. If you know anything about just looking at chart, if you're a quick learner, you could probably just look at that chart and understand what it's based on. But this, in my opinion, is the best. Like it is. This is gas freaking money, gas money usually. Especially this 13-minute time frame. This 13-minute time frame is absolutely ridiculous. Again, you won't be in every single trade, but you'll be in the most of the time, the best trades. Like you would have had you longing here, shorting there. Yeah, you even stopped out there, but you're not going to win everything. You know, longing there. You've been stopped out there, been stopped out there. Possibly stopped out there, longing there. Good trades there. Good trades there, good trades there. Possibly stopped out there, possibly stopped out there. Definitely stopped out there. Again, you won't be on every single right trade, but you're going to be in a lot of good trades. A lot of them. Especially when it starts trending. Sell, 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 sell. And again, you're trading the whatever time frame you set. So, real time momentum, adjusted time momentum. Say if we want, again, same idea. If we wanted to trade the higher time frame, 240 again, we could do that. And you can see that the higher time frame trend has now shifted, you know. So, very powerful tool. Very, very, very powerful. Depends on what you want to do with it. Had you selling here, buying there, you know, that's pretty fucking crazy. Pretty good. Selling there, buying. Again, you're not going to be perfect, but it's going to keep you on the right trade the majority of the time. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Again, hacking actually makes things clear. Usually it makes things more fluid. And therefore you could use them. I'm probably going to revert the old Chevy to the old one because it worked so well that I kind of think I'm either going to make another indicator that is that, or I'm just going to redo it and hopefully everybody's accepting of that. Let's see here. I'm gonna add something real quick. Head chart. It's not 68. It's like 64 then. Hold on, I want to show you the... Okay, I think this is wrong. 65 is wrong. What the hell? The weirdest thing ever is happening. Okay, last try. I just want to show you guys. Add to chart, bitch. Oh my gosh, my computer is running like a big old bag of wieners. Big old bag of wieners. Weird. It's not like letting me... Not letting me open up a script. An older version of Chevy. Version like 63 or something. That is so weird that it does that. And it does this weird shit. So we're not 63. Don't know why it's fucking like this either. See, it's like glitching. Fucking TradingView does this weird shit every now and then where it just glitches, nothing fucking shows on the screen. And I think that's what's happening. Anyways, so that's about it. About wrapped up. Nothing else really to talk about unless you have any questions here. I'll be happy to answer them. But with that, we're going to start transitioning out of here. I wish this was... Why the fuck is it doing this stupid ass shit? All I want is this... Stupid ass... This is dumb. Dumb as hell. I wish these worked all the time. Like they're supposed to and they're intended to. But sometimes these just don't work. So with that, you guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I'm going to start raising the volume. Ask me any last minute questions. But you know my game plan. If you have any questions about that, shoot me in the DMs. Or if you're in my Discord, I'll be happy to answer you in the Discord group. Alright? Alright. With that, we have been discussing and talking for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. That is plenty long enough for you to be annoyed and tired of my damn voice. So I think it's time to wrap this shit up. So let's start transitioning out again. My name is Satoshi Motherfucking Heavy, and I appreciate you as always if you tune in, especially if you're a returning user, etc., etc. I appreciate you. Make sure to hit a like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications so you don't miss it any time I shoot on live, because I don't always post them publicly. Sometimes it's very spontaneous, so the only way you'll get that action if you're not in my group is by having a notification click to on. So don't miss a beat. You never want to miss a beat. So catch me again in about 2 days on Tuesday around 9 p.m. Around 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we'll get it popping. A quicker session, about an hour session during the week, but we have 2 sessions during the week, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So catch me at Tuesday. All right. Again, thank you. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, drop a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what I can do better. I always love hearing feedback to see what I could do. Making sure that everybody stays happy and everybody gets the info that they want to see. And yeah, again, thank you. This has been your boy Satoshi Mother Effin' Heavy with a dose of crypto. So catch me in 2 days on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Peace out. Everybody have a great night.
for you, yeah. Studying the way you dance, and that's why I'm afraid to ask. Baby, live it up, or you wanna live it up, you wanna live it up, I'm just not sure I want you now. Don't be afraid, want me now. So you can go ahead and clap it while I stop it. I'm excited that I'm high, I go out. What's up with you? Won't stop loving you. Why you want me to? What's more to do? What's up with you? Won't stop loving you. Why you want me to? What's more to do? What's up with you? Won't stop loving you. Why you want me to? What's more to do? What's up with you? Won't stop loving you. Why you want me to? What's more to do?
I wasn't afraid to start the fight. I was just afraid of the fall. I'm not afraid be that way, fall apart twice a day. I just wish you could feel what you say. Sure, never tell, but I know you too well. Got a move that you wish you could sell. If teardrops could be better, like this rain things in my mind. Though the tide turns is what makes you hard. If I was a promise, would you break it? If you're honest, tell them
Bumbo clock them.